Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of My Awesome Friend, where I get to sit down with my awesome friends and have really great conversations with them about life, fun stories, and just random stuff that may or may not come up in the conversation. So I have today Mr. Ray Dueñas. Hello, Ray.
Hey,
How are you?
good.
Ray is with the Miami Herald, and I was fortunate to meet Ray in community. So doing leadership programs and volunteering with United Way as well. Our paths have
Oh,
crossed there.
thanks.
And Ray is an amazing leader in our community. He is always down to help. So I'm very much looking forward to today's conversation. So Ray, welcome.
Welcome me.
Where shall we start? Let's start with Little Ray.
Let's start with Little Ray.
Tell us about Little Ray's upbringing here in Miami.
Born and raised in Miami.
Okay.
Cuban and Nicaraguan parents. My dad's Cuban. Him and his family got here on El Mariel.
Oh, my dad too.
Yeah. And my mom is from Nicaragua. So she's the oldest of 6. My dad is the oldest of 3. Most of the family is here. Mostly in South Florida, mostly in Miami. Big. When my parents got married, my mom moved in with my Cuban side of the family, so I was raised a little bit more Cuban, with Nicaraguan influences here and there. Been to both. I was very fortunate to go to Nicaragua. I will be going to Nicaragua again next month.
Where about?
I'm sorry?
Where about in Nicaragua?
Chichigalpa. So the family's in Chichigalpa, about a 10-minute drive from the Flor de Caña distillery.
Okay, are we going?
We've been.
Okay.
So I'll very fortunate, very blessed. I have all 4 grandparents to this day.
Nice.
So my mom's parents are in Nicaragua, so that's where we're going. Growing up, my grandmother would come once, sometimes twice a year to visit. So we were very fortunate. My grandfather, not so much because he was always scared of planes. He has come to visit once.
Yeah.
So when I was already in my mid-20s, that was the first time that I had all 4 grandparents. My sister and I had all 4 of our grandparents in the same room at once. So it was very special. It was very nice.
Do you have a preference for like Nicaraguan food or Cuban food?
Do I have a preference? I eat Cuban more just because we're in Miami and it's more prevalent, but can't tell you that like Versailles is my favorite. Can't tell you I go to La Carreta all the time. It's because Abuela, El Fogón is always on.
Yeah,
So
cooking.
Abuela's cooking is always best. And what I've asked her and what I've told her now, and not just for my sister, not just for my younger cousins, but even for me, I tell her that we have to pick certain days where I'll just watch her.
Yeah.
Write down the measurements because I don't, once the day comes, I don't want to not have the food that I was raised with.
Oh my God.
So, con gris, garbanzo frito, I have everything because she makes everything. She makes everything. So I don't have a favorite restaurant, but I do have, it's my grandma's.
Yeah.
And my mom, whenever she's with her side of the family, se le sale.
Yeah.
Right. So she'll make el repollo and she'll make everything.
Delicious.
Yeah. So we've been eating good for a solid 34 years now.
I love it. So that's Little Ray. Recently, you and I were talking about the transition and the little bit of the culture shock that you had going from high school in Miami to going away for college in Central Florida, right?
Gainesville. So it's a little bit north of Central Florida.
Okay. So what was that like? What was that culture shock?
So born and raised in Miami. I went to school my whole life here in South Florida. So
we went to the same school, Go Cavs, Coral Gables Senior High.
High school, we went to Coral Gables.
Not at the same time though, albeit.
I have a few years under you, but Go Cavs.
Yeah.
Elementary and middle school, I went to Carver, so in Coconut Grove and Coral Gables. Where I went, it was predominantly Hispanic, Black, with like some features here and there of like Asian, of white, everyone. But smaller pockets. And then when after I graduated from Coral Gables, I went to Miami-Dade College. Go Sharks.
Go Sharks, me too.
I was there for about a year and a half, and then I transferred to the University of Florida in Gainesville the spring semester of my sophomore year. So when I moved, it made me realize that I wasn't ready to move away immediately after high school.
Aside because the fact that you had to now do your own laundry.
I was a mama's boy. Like I've never, no. Who does that? I mean, I was very grateful for my path and how it worked out for me. But when I moved to Gainesville and I took the RTS, the bus from my apartment to campus, I got on almost a full bus, and it was very evident that I was a huge, like I was a minority. I was the only person of color that I saw on the bus. And then Gainesville, Ocala, it's It's not Miami.
Yeah.
It's not Miami by any means. It's not South Florida by any means. So it was a huge culture shock. And what helped me find community, what helped me find my tribe, what helped me find my place in Gainesville at UF was connecting to the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
So I found and got really close to and involved in the Hispanic Student Association. And by that, UF has a huge Hispanic Heritage Month team. So we would put on programming for an entire month. And then in the beginning of the fall semester, there was Hispanic Latino Student Assembly. I was part of that as well. I joined a Latin fraternity. So a lot of what I did in Gainesville in college at UF was steered towards the community that I felt that I needed.
Yeah.
So it helped me. And it made me, and in taking on like those roles and being part of those clubs and organizations, I didn't know it at the time, but it would ultimately help build into my career because it's essentially what I do now professionally.
Yeah, and it sounds like it is very much who you are today, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking, man, you're sounding off all these things that you're involved with, and it doesn't sound much different
Not
than
too far off from
today.
what I do.
Yeah. I mean, we are overachievers. I've said that on the show before, and most of my friends are, if not all of them. So it makes sense. Fast forward now, you are involved in so many things. You just joined the Girl Scouts of Tropical South Florida board.
Yep.
Snaps to you. I'm a proud Trefoil Society member in Troop 305. It's an adult troop. So if you didn't get a chance to become a Girl Scout when you were little, Miami has an adult troop, and I would go to your cities and ask them to start one if they don't. And then you're also involved with Leadership Miami, which is an amazing leadership program. And you are involved with what else? Where to start?
Where do I start? So the first thing after I started my career, I've been at the Miami Herald for a little over 11 years now. It was my first job out of college. So getting into, when I left Gainesville, I didn't know where I was going to find in Miami because it was a little bit tough for me to find a role that I thought was going to be good for me. And then I came across the Miami Herald, and it was a very entry level position in advertising. But what I didn't know is that I had it in me to kind of open up different opportunities for myself within the Herald. So 11 years later, I think I'm in my 6th role as a director of community affairs. And it's been really good to me. I've been really good to me because I, for lack of a better word, busted my back
Yeah.
to make sure that that opportunities are presented and the right opportunities for me, because there have been options and opportunities for me to take on a different role, whether it's a different company or within the same company, but I've really found where I needed to be. So a few years ago, my then boss introduced me to United Way. Okay. United Way Miami. I've known about United Way since I was a kid because even at Gables, there used to be campaigns.
Yeah.
Or, you could donate.
You pay $1, and on Friday you could wear the jeans or whatever.
Yeah. So it was easy. It was something that was always around.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I was under 30. And so United Way has a giving community for the 30 and under young professionals. Link, Lead, Impact, Network Change. So I joined it, and then I was asked to be on the executive committee. And then in my last year before I got kicked out because I was too old, I was a subcommittee lead under Impact. So I oversaw some of our programming, and I led a team within our executive committee. And then when I aged out, I joined Young Leaders. And so up and even till today, I'm part of the Young Leaders Executive Committee. So this coming year, I'll be one of the professional development co-chairs. Nice. So it's United Way is one of them. Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I would attend, and now I'm part of the Impact Circle, which is their young professionals. Giving Community, Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida, Leadership Miami.
Yep.
And so because the University of Florida really the Hispanic community at the University of Florida opened up so much to me, I wanted to give back. So I'm on the board of directors for the Association of Hispanic Alumni.
How many pages is your resume just in extracurricular?
It's very long. It's not long enough because I have to update it with the new positions that I'm in now.
And then what's fun too is that because you're involved with the Miami Herald, because Miami Herald is so community driven. You are maybe not directly involved with an organization, but you sure are supporting it at their fundraiser, their galas, their community events, their drive-through.
I mean, honestly, with everything that I do on my own in the community, it helped shape my role into what it is that I do. So even though I might not be on boards or volunteer as much, by way of my job, by way of my employer, we are able to give back in different ways, in different local nonprofits, organizations, chambers. It's my role as an ambassador for the Miami Herald to make sure that we are present. And it's not just like me physically, me personally. It's our leadership team. It's
Yeah.
our reporters. Miami is so rich and diverse and dynamic. So much happens in Miami and in a lot of communities that surrounds Miami,
Yeah.
right? So because of our proximity to the Caribbean and Haiti, because of our connections to Latin America, because so much happens in Miami and in Florida, it's very easy for for us and the Miami Herald to be involved in so much,
Yeah.
which is a huge reason of why in the last few years the Miami Herald has been so successful in getting recognized with Pulitzers.
Yeah.
So in 2022, the entire newsroom got the Pulitzer for breaking news for their coverage of Surfside.
Oh, nice.
Last year, our editorial team got the Pulitzer in opinions for their
Opinions?
opinion pieces called Broken Promises, which essentially holds elected officials accountable for what they promised on the campaign trail. And now that they're in office, those promises that were not met, that have not been met yet. So it's, I'm so fortunate to be able to represent a masthead that does so much for the community.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the days of, what are they called? Current events.
Current events.
So, you would have your newspaper clippings and you would write of what is happening, how that affects us, how that affects the world. Florida, Miami, our school at the time, right?
Yeah.
So being on the flip side of it, my grandfather to this day, 11 years later, still introduces me as el periodista de la familia. I've never been a writer a day in my life. I only write emails and scripts. But it's just I'm very fortunate to be at the company that I am at, in the role that I'm in, and able to do what I do.
And you're not just doing your job because you truly go above and beyond, and not just for the organizations that you support, but for the organizations that your friends support. You show up, and you also show up just when your friend needs a friend, right? So I need a resource, I need a contact. Can you help
I think
me?
it's really important to show up and show out for the people that do it for you, even if they don't do it for you. Because if I'm able to make an introduction, if I'm able to be one other seat that's filled at an event, at a program, if I'm able to donate one more dollar, my $1 could go so much further for an organization that needs it for their, our most needy.
Yeah.
And I hate the word needy because we all need something.
We sure do.
I think it's just, I have the ability to help. And sometimes what's so small to me could mean so much to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that I wish that more, and I'm no Mother Teresa, I'm no Brother Teresa, but I just hope that people can realize that we're able to help so much more than what we know we can.
Yeah, and it's not just financial contributions, it's time.
What is it? Time, treasure. What is it?
Time, treasure, talent. Yep. Time, treasure, and
I
talent.
love the alliterations.
So true. So, Ray, you're obviously very vested in the community, and this is why we are friends. But you are also very fair and equitable. And I'm going to share a story about how you came into my life. So,
Okay.
Ray and I were part of the Leadership Miami program. I had the honor of being his chair. Ray was in my class, the MVP winner of the year. But Ray stood out immediately in a room of 60 people. And by room, I mean
A virtual
virtual
room.
Zoom. Yep. Where everyone was.
When you chaired it and I went through the program, it was in the peak of the pandemic.
Such a peak.
Because ours was the last class that was more than 9 months. So we were fall 20 to spring 21.
Yeah.
And in that entire time, most of the interactions were done on the other side of the computer.
Yeah. So
I did not complain because there were those Saturday morning focus sessions that I was.
it's different now when you have to wake up early and go in person. Yeah.
Drive everywhere. But
So let me let you all know how fair and equitable Ray is. We divided the teams up and they had to go present. And they had, let's say, 7 days in between when they were told they were going to present their day and when they actually had to present. Yeah. So that the teams knew who was next and what they were pitching or what they were presenting, because I think there was also a topic associated with it. Ray's team was the first team to go. They got their topic. They did great. And then after they're done, I think we go to announce the next team or notify the next team what their topic and their dates are. And Ray immediately comes off mute. Excuse me. Are these dates, are they even? Are they fair? Are they going to have more time or less time? So I really loved you for that. You made such an impact. And you made it fair and equitable for everyone.
Yeah.
Made sure everyone had their own
No
plane.
more, no less.
And I love you for that so much. That will always be my memory. All right, so that was a fun story, but let's get into some fun quick fires.
Oh my God.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, Ray. We're going to start with the hardest one first. You're making dinner. You can invite 5 guests. Who is sitting at the dinner table with you?
I've thought about this before with you.
With me.
So I think it's very important to give people their flowers while they're still here, because it's very unfortunate that we only give people flowers, whether it's physically, metaphorically, emotionally, after they've already passed. So I think it's important to remind people how important and impactful they are while they're on Earth. So for that reason, I think I know that I do want to have my freshman year high school world history teacher, Miss Erica Jones, be one of them, because I don't know that she knows it, but she made such a huge impact in how I see education and taking on education. Because growing up, I was very fortunate in that I was in good schools. I was in magnet schools and programs.
Okay.
So it prepared me for the next step from elementary to middle to high school to college to the real world, right?
Yeah.
So she was just so raw and so real, and she would put things in perspective that I was like, oh, ponte las pilas,
Yeah.
you know. And so I appreciate her for that, and I always credit her for a lot of my maturity. On the subject of flowers, everyone's best friend, Pat Morris.
Pat Morris. For those of you who don't know who Pat Morris is the best dude ever. He is the king of nonprofits in Miami-Dade County.
He just makes, and so easily.
Oh my God.
That man is busier than you and I combined.
Yep.
He's at every event that I wouldn't have even imagined going to, and he's there and happy.
Yeah.
Because I find myself sometimes, Miami's so hot.
Pat is a fan, a supporter. I'm glad that he's my bestie.
Yeah, and he's just
Pat, you're my bestie.
Buena gente.
He really is. He really is buena gente.
And he doesn't do it with
it's not with like a scratcher.
With an expectation. He does it because he
genuinely is a good guy.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
Definitely want to have Pat there.
Great.
The queen herself, Beyonce.
Oh, okay. I thought
queen?
It was like La Reina de Inglaterra.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the queen.
Okay.
Because last year for my 33rd birthday, my Jesus year,
okay,
my Beezus year, she played at Soldier Field in Chicago. And I was there. I heard her say Raymond Dueñas happy birthday. Her words may have been, if anybody's having a birthday, happy birthday. But in my illusion, we locked eyes.
I'm sure.
So there's that.
So wait, before you tell me the next person, Beyonce walks into this room right now and says, "Hey Ray, sing me your favorite Beyonce song." What do you sing?
It's a medley.
Oh,
there's not one. It's a medley.
Okay,
it's
so medley me.
It's the Super Bowl with new content, because her Super Bowl halftime performance,
like the entire Super Bowl, was like condensed down into like. So you'll sing that for her
with Destiny's Child.
With Destiny's Child,
the originals.
You didn't answer my question, but that's okay.
The whole medley.
The whole medley, all of it. Beyonce takes a seat.
Finish.
Who else is at your dinner table?
It all started with a mouse. The Walt Disney himself. Because I just came back from Disney, and I'll be going back to Disney in like 3 weeks. So every time I go, it's like it's my first time.
Yeah.
What that man has been able to do, and what those that came after and those that work in the company do, not just for kids but for the world, is I find that it's magical. I really do believe that there's a spark that's created because of that man.
Well, fun fact, I'm a public transit advocate rider. I don't have a car. In watching on Disney Plus, like one of the Imagineering behind the scenes shows, I learned that the reason that we have metro rails and monorails in the United States is because of Mr. Walt. So shout out to him for being an innovator and
in multiple
ways. And Walt Disney, tell me I'm wrong, but the original content creator, because that man recorded everything, which is why we have spectacular shows like Behind the Scenes now. So,
And why we're here today.
and why we're here today and taking the train.
Um,
And so, who's your fifth person?
my bisabuela.
Oh, I love that.
Rosaura Ursula Rodriguez Dueñas. Again, very fortunate. I to this day have all four grandparents, and up until I was almost 13, I had my great grandmother, and she showed me what genuine love is. And one of the things that always stuck with me, at one day I told her that te amo, abuela, and she just told me no. Her take on the word amar,
Okay.
amor, is passionate, romantic love.
Okay.
So she told me, yo te quiero con todo, pero yo no te amo como yo amo a mi, to her late husband. So that's why in Spanish, I'll only ever say te quiero.
That makes sense. Yeah, te amo's very intense.
Yeah. So
That's a great roundabout people.
yeah, right. I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so too.
So.
So, what is happening with Ray today? Where is Ray going in the next 5 years?
To the moon. I don't have, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have said that I probably wasn't going to be at the Miami Herald, but that was before I knew the opportunities that would be presented to me. Professionally, I just want to be, no, in every aspect of my life, I want to be bigger and better than who I am today. I know people have their 1, 3, 5, 10-year plans. I can't tell you that I do. And I don't see that as a fault. I think that every day, I take each day at a time.
Go with the
I
flow.
just want to be happier. And I don't think that there's any, yeah, I do. I tend to go with the flow. Do I do some planning here and there? Yeah, absolutely. But I think so much changes in a day, in a week, in a year, in every aspect of the world,
Yeah.
politically,
Everything.
globally.
Yeah.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Evolved.
Okay.
Evolved.
I like that.
Smarter. I think we're constantly learning. It doesn't take a classroom for you to learn something.
No.
It doesn't take a course to learn something. Sometimes it takes a conversation with one other person, with a group of people. I see myself having made life better for someone else, for some other people.
What you do on a daily basis,
Which we
probably
do.
don't even realize it.
Exactly. And like, we talked about the 5 people at the dinner table, but I think it's a book of the 5 people that you meet when you go to heaven.
Yeah.
And it's,
Jesus Amore? Is that the book? Yeah.
it's a movie. I saw the movie. But it's just it's so crazy how like just one small hello, like just asking a stranger how their day is going, or like, tapping someone on the shoulder because you see that they're, shedding a tear.
Yeah.
It costs nothing to be kind.
Yeah. Is there something where someone has shared that kindness with you and that has affected you or has been a pivotal moment in your life?
Almost daily. We've talked about this, that I'm like over long-winded.
Yeah.
And sometimes, people, even in conversations, people have just said like, thank you for that. And like, what que me cuesta
Yeah.
to just talk to somebody and like sometimes overshare a little bit about myself. And ask, my sister mentions that I ask a lot of questions, but and she paints it as a negative, but I ask people about themselves because sometimes not everybody has these questions asked, because I've been in relationships and friendships where I find myself being the one that always asks versus being asked.
Yeah.
And sometimes in conversations, I always bring it back to myself because I love me.
We love Ray.
Everybody loves Raymond.
What did I just send you? Some people might
Oh my God.
some
Yeah.
people might not like you, but I still think you're a magical effing unicorn all day. They're wrong.
And I like to get out of people what they might not know that they're giving out to the world.
Yeah.
So has anybody changed my? A lot of people have. A lot of people constantly do. And I
Right.
think that that's the beauty of human connection. There's a lyric in a song, everyone's connected, but no one is connecting. So I feel like powerful. Hello.
Yeah.
I think that it's very important to sometimes just, and I appreciate people. there are times where I'll check my phone during a conversation, and I
Sure.
have friends that tell me, "Hey, put it away."
Yeah, be present.
You know, and I can see where I'm such a hypocrite in the sense that I tell people, "Hey, who's calling us?
Yeah.
Hey, this is me time." And I'm making it a point to be a little bit more intentional of making sure that while I'm with somebody, I'm with them.
Yeah.
And giving them, sometimes you can give somebody your all, but
That's
you
It's
can.
work life, but you really can't put the phone down.
Yeah.
For 20, 30 minutes and just have a conversation with a human. I love that. We're so connected, we're not connecting.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just found my paper from ENC 1101 at Miami-Dade College. Yeah. And it was an entire 5-page paper on how we're connected through our technological devices and how we're losing touch with each
Connection.
other. Yeah. And I mean, it's been 20 almost years since that paper was written, so it's crazy to read it.
It's truer now.
It's worse, and I think at that time I had like a BlackBerry, or like it wasn't, or a Nokia. It wasn't anything like super crazy.
Sidekick?
So
I never had a sidekick.
no, and now we have conversations with our friends on 30 different platforms. Where it's like, oh, WhatsApp chat. There's a regular text thread, sending reels, and then
All at the same time.
all at the same time, 5 conversations, which makes us for a great generation of multitaskers. So it's time for another quick fire question, right?
Let's.
And this one, I know it's not going to be a quick fire because there's going to be a story behind it.
Yeah.
Not even this long-winded. I'm ready for a good story here. So we had such a great time talking about community and like the serious aspects and where you are now. I got to know, is there, and I don't think I've ever asked you this or have been in a situation where we're having conversation and discuss this, but I feel like it's time for me to hear one of your maybe funniest, most embarrassing stories that you are able to share on the internets and with our followers and our viewers. Is it exciting? Is it going to make me cry of joy or laughter?
I don't know. It'll definitely make me cry of embarrassment. But okay. Picture it.
I'm picturing it.
Coral Gables Senior High School,
Oh my God, yes.
drama class.
Okay.
I think it was my junior year. The assignment was to do a pantomime.
What's a pantomime? Break it down.
A pantomime is expressing and emoting action and a story with no words. So I couldn't speak.
So like
I couldn't speak. So very dramatic.
Okay.
But we had to use a song. We had to use a song in the background, and attach it to one of the 7 deadly sins.
Ooh.
Very complex. So naturally, I did lust. The song that I picked was the Michael Bublé version of Fever. And I can't tell you that I thought it through. I just looked at my iPod at the time and was like, what song can I do? What's even relevant? Okay, fine, I'll do this one. So I'm on stage. It's a full class. And I'm just like, doing it, killing it. And I thought that what was going to be my like finishing piece was to jump off stage.
Oh man.
And like serenade my teacher.
And let's talk about this jumping off stage, because if I remember clearly, that was what, like a foot, not even 2 feet high?
How very dare you? It's like 3 to 4 feet.
Were you in the theater?
The theater.
Oh, okay, I thought you were in the drama room.
No, the theater.
Okay.
It's 4 feet.
Okay,
3 to 4 feet.
Wow, that's very brave of you.
Right. People do it all the time. And then I did it that day. I jump off stage. Purposefully jump off stage. I did not fall. Jump off stage, land on both feet. However, the majority of the body weight was on my right side. So as soon as I land, you could have yelled out timber, because I felt and heard a crack.
Ooh.
So I land and then I just fall.
Oh no.
I fall. A roar of applause, standing ovation. People found it so funny. What did he just do? They can't see that I'm hiding my face, cursing up a storm. I did not cry.
Good. Did you play it off?
But no. At one point, the teacher was like, all right, somebody go check in on him. It's a very long story. Long story short, they helped me up. I was in pain. I thought I just sprained my knee. I went through the rest of the day. I was able to use the elevator in the new building that no one knows is the new building today.
No.
But I got home. I took a nap. I woke up from my nap screaming.
Ooh.
Because I felt the soreness on my knee, and on the other leg, I had a Charlie horse. So I'm just like, I wake up and think immediately, double amputee. The drama.
God, no.
I go to Miami Children's Hospital.
Okay.
I get the x-rays. I'm fine. They recommend an MRI. I was like, nobody has time for that. Why would I do that? That was in November. Fast forward to January, I'm still in pain. So I go get the MRI. I tore my ACL.
Oof.
I scratched my meniscus inside and outside of the bone, and my patella moved.
Oh my God.
I needed to have surgery.
Oh my God.
The surgeon was like, how are you walking? You're not supposed to be able to walk. And I'm like, obviously touched by an angel. So I had surgery. That's the only time I've ever had a sports related injury. So for the rest of my junior and senior year theater career, whenever somebody would tell me break a leg, I'd say already did.
Oh man.
Already did.
No joke.
Yeah.
I don't know about drama as a sport. Marching band, definitely a sport. Drama, I mean, that could be a whole nother conversation that we can fight about.
Different awards on that one. But that happened. That was my most embarrassing. One of my most embarrassing stories.
That you can share.
But it's, I'm able to look back at it.
Yeah.
And what was I thinking?
You're being an overachiever.
The worst part is that for the assignment, I did not get an A. I didn't get a grade. I was excused. Insult to injury. I'm still bitter about it today.
I know that you just stared at the camera. That's going to be a great cut.
So mad.
I love it. Ray, let's go back to a serious question. What has been one of the biggest life lessons that you have learned in maybe since I met you? So in the last 4 years.
A lesson that I've learned in my adulthood is that you cannot have the same expectations for others as you have for yourself. Because, we all talk about it. We show up and we show off for our people. And sometimes when those people don't show up for us, you are disheartened, you're disappointed, you're angry, you're delusional, but it's because you falsely have this interpretation of what you want from someone, and kind of have that expectation. So I've, in my adulthood, in friendships, in professional, in extracurricular, when someone's response isn't what I know I would have provided, it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks because I'd like to think that I do a lot for others, and what I need to realize is that you can't do it with and I don't have expectations of people
Yeah.
to do the same for me, but I would like to think that some responses would be a little bit more suited to how I would respond than what didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it was a huge lesson to learn and kind of just deal with.
To manage your own expectations.
Yeah, because it makes you realize, it's not all unicorns and rainbows out there. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit of a letdown. And is it really a letdown? No, you can't fault someone for not doing what you expected or hoped from them.
Yeah.
People respond to things differently. And some responses are so harsh because of different circumstances that it's no one's fault.
Yeah.
It's your own fault for having an expectation.
That's interesting.
But it was a tough lesson to learn a few too many times.
Yeah.
But once you kind of internalize that, you're a little bit freer. You're a little bit freer. So
Yeah. Speaking of adulthood, on Jalisa's episode, we actually talked a lot about how adulthood, we're all making it up as we go.
there's no
playbook.
There's no manual.
But let me ask you, 'cause I know how I adult. I adult happily in my home, my PJs, most of my work is digital, and I'm very fortunate that I've created this work-life balance where, because most of my work is digital, when I go out into the world, it's to do things like this, or to go break bread with my friends, or happy hour or whatnot. So that's how I'm kind of handling adulthood and taking it in stride and still being true to the 12-year-old in me, but also being the adult in there for me. I didn't say that age, but how is Ray handling adulthood? Where are you finding your balance aside from going to Disney World and concerts and all the things and having fun with,
Well, just that balance. There's a huge seasonality aspect of my career, right? So in the spring, that's when spelling bee and Silver Nights really takes off. So from about February to May, I know that I am booked and busy and blessed.
Yeah.
To say that I'm booked and busy, like I said, there's a huge seasonality, so I have that expectation. But you work hard, you play harder.
Yeah.
I love to travel. My best friend and I have a great time visiting cities, countries, continents. We've been recently to Chicago. We'll be in New York. We're going to Las Vegas.
Didn't you do Paris recently? Or you did Europe not that long ago?
I did Las Vegas. I did Las Vegas in February to see the American Idol. My best friend and I,
like the American Idol, like Kelly Clarkson.
The Kelly Clarkson.
Love her.
For her residency in Las Vegas, she only played a few weekends. That was a huge experience. And then the same best friend, shout out to Jeff. Like 2 years ago, we went to Cardiff, Wales, to see Little Mix. So Little Mix,
related to Little Nas, Little Wayne.
Not even in the littlest.
Okay.
But so Little Mix is a girl group that was created in X Factor UK. They auditioned individually and they were placed together by Kelly Rowland. Shout out to Destiny's Child.
Okay.
And they won. They won their season. And they tour mainly in the UK.
Yeah.
So when he was working in Minneapolis, which I was not happy about, but I had visited him, and I think like the foundation of our friendship is watching videos on YouTube. And so while we were watching their auditions and their performances on X Factor, we just said we have to see them, but they're never in the States. So we said we don't have to be in this. They don't have to be in the States for us to see them. So we looked at London, we looked at Manchester, everything was sold out. But there were 2 second-row seats available in Cardiff, Wales.
Nice.
We booked it.
Vaya.
And we booked it.
No fuimos.
So we went to the UK for a week, and there's just something about enjoying an atmosphere of music and freedom with loved ones that changes your perception of what happiness is. It was one of the best experiences that either of us have had individually or together. Music, man. Music, word.
Tell me, I love music.
Marching band over here.
Hey, I'm professional recording French horn player soon for Disney World.
Rose Gold.
Rose Gold. I need to name her Rose Gold. Maybe that should be her name. Rose Gold. No, Rosie was my robot, my vacuum robot, but she passed away, and now I have Arturito, named after
R2D2.
You can't hate my creativity, man. So Ray, we've been having a great conversation. How do you make sure that you're staying happy? What is your secret to happiness?
So complex, right? Because there's so many facets of your life that you could kind of focus on. There's different things bring me joys, while other things could bring me sadness or disgust or fear or anger or envy. Literally all of the emotions in Inside Out. But what keeps me happy is knowing that there are things and people and moments that can make you happy. I'd like to think that I'm what's the opposite of pessimist?
Optimist?
Optimist. I like to think that I'm an optimist, whether it's delusional of me to think so. But there's sometimes all it takes is a good cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes is to release all that anger, all that sadness, all that fear, in tears, listening to some really sad music, watching a really sad song, reading a really good passage or scripture. There's moments that bring joy, and you can't. The purest moments that bring you joy are the ones that you don't look for. The ones that just happen organically, whether it's with a person, in a place, in a time.
And it sounds like you know how to find a way to enjoy them, or
they find me.
They find you?
They find me.
But I mean, when they find you, you know how to appreciate
them. Dive into them. Yeah, because if not, like a younger me, teenage me, adolescent me used to take things for granted.
Yeah.
Not like the tangible things, but like moments and experiences and people and opportunities for granted, because I didn't realize the impact that they could have. So grown-ish grown-ish. I mean, because I still have a lot of growing up to do.
I don't know. I want to be a Toys R Us.
Yeah, no.
Ever.
I worked at Toys R Us. I worked the first year that Toys R Us was open on Black Friday at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, that's right. We are uniform buddies because I was at Blockbuster. We both wore those khakis. And I think you wore a blue polo too, no?
I think it was red.
Red? Okay.
No, I don't think. I know it was red because after my shift was over at 8 a.m. On Black Friday, I was just, because it was here on US 1, I was like, oh, let me go to Target to see what they have.
Yeah. And people thought you worked at
People thought I worked at Target. So I was in and out. Well, by the third person that asked me, oh, where can I find this? I found my car in the parking lot and I went home and I slept.
That's amazing.
But just world peace.
I love it.
One day.
What is a motto that you live by?
If not me, then who?
Yep.
If I don't do it, who will?
I love that.
Yeah. And it's not, I don't think I'm gonna cure cancer.
No.
Or save the world. But I think that feeding into certain things and helping somebody who has the tools, the knowledge, the know-how, sometimes it's me for certain tasks or aspects, but I think that there's a community collective of people doing good, and just diving into that can help change the world, save a life, make a better future for those to come.
I love it. Fun question.
Go.
Your hair is always so on point.
This whole thing?
This whole thing. What is your hair routine?
Moco de gorilla.
Gorilla glue? Or it's called moco de gorilla?
Literally, it's
gorilla boogers.
Moco de gorilla. Gorilla snot, I think it says on the bottle.
Oh, gorilla snot.
You could find it at CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target.
You just have like a giant tub of it and use it. Yeah. That's so funny. You are an awesome human being, and I am so incredibly blessed to have you.
Yes, you are.
To have you. We all are so incredibly blessed to have Ray in our life. And thank you for being a friend, a champion, a smile. Because more than anything, you can brighten up any room.
Stop it.
Stop.
Keep going.
I know you. Any parting words that you want to share with our audience or our followers?
In the words of one of the attendees to my dinner, the Walt Disney, keep moving forward.
Thanks, Ray. That is a great way to close out this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been such a great conversation with my buddy and awesome friend over here, Mr. Ray Dueñas. And I hope you've enjoyed this show, and make sure to subscribe, follow, like, do all the things, share, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.